Hi guys, it's Emma. Today I have a double book review on books 2 and 3 in the Dyer Trilogy, The Evolution of Dyer and The Retribution of Dyer. I'm gonna just quickly give my thoughts on it, spoiler free, that is, what I thought of these two books and the whole series in general, and then I'm gonna go into some more specifics about the books. So there is a spoiler section, but I'll let you know when it's coming. So the Dyer Trilogy focuses around a girl called Mara Dyer, who after a traumatic accident, she has symptoms of PTSD and she kind of is hallucinating and weird stuff is happening in her life, and she kind of just goes on this big adventure to find out the explanation to all of these weird things that are happening. So the first book that I'm going to review, which is the second book in the series, The Evolution of Mara Dyer, I gave this one 5 stars, mainly for the plot line, not so much like the writing or anything like that. I liked it more than the first one. The reason for that is I think because I really liked the fact that there was less Mara and Noah romance stuff going on. It was more so about the strangeness that was happening, which is what I thought the whole series was going to be about anyways. But so in the first book I was disappointed when there was like this whole love relationship thing introduced and it just kind of took over the plot line. Whereas this one, it was less Mara Noah romance stuff and more so creepiness throughout the whole book, which I liked a lot more. So that was why I gave it more stars than the first one. There was another good twist at the end, another cliffhanger that left, as it did with the first book, so I always enjoy a good cliffhanger. However, still not really feeling much for the characters, like caring about them much, so that still has yet to come with this book. But luckily in the third book, it kind of finally gets around to that. I start to care more about the characters and what's going on, but as of yet still, in this book, wasn't caring a whole lot for the characters or what happened to them. So for The Retribution of Dyer, the final book in the trilogy, I gave it 3 stars. It had a good start, a very boring middle, and then a kind of okay ending, but not really, because it was so confusing. Like, it started to pick up towards the end, and then as I mentioned earlier, in this book I finally started to kind of feel something for the characters. I will get into the spoiler section about that later, but still the ending was kind of not what I was expecting. It wasn't as impacting as I thought it was, and also didn't explain a whole lot, I found. So yeah, good start, really boring middle and drawn out, like really boring, and then the ending kind of was good, kind of got picked up at the action, and like you weren't sure what was going to happen, but what choices the characters were going to make, which is always really fun to read. But when it actually concluded and ended, I was kind of like, okay, so what happened? Which is not what you want to do at the end of an entire trilogy. You don't want to be asking questions. You want to either keep reading or you want to be really, really satisfied, but I didn't feel either of those. So that is my spoiler-free, really quick book review on books 2 and 3 in the Dyer Trilogy. I will now go into a spoilery section. So if you're gonna leave, thanks for watching, and if you're gonna stay, then let's continue. So the second book, Evolution of Dyer. There isn't really much spoilery stuff that I want to talk about in this one. It's more so with the final book, but I do want to mention though in this one, for the ending, I was kind of happy that it was leaning more towards a less paranormal explanation and more of a science-based explanation, because it just made all of it seem that much more real, even though it's kind of pseudoscience, whatever. It was still kind of interesting, and I was happy that it was more so that kind of an explanation as opposed to the paranormal explanation, because that would have made just everything seem really like a big cop-out. So I was happy when I got to the cliffhanger that it was more so science-based. And that's basically all I have to say about that book. But the last book, The Retribution of Dyer, there were some things that kind of really bugged me a lot. So as I mentioned, this entire series kind of failed to make me care for any of the characters up until the ending of the last book, when they were in the warehouse thing, or that place with Noah's father, which, by the way, I totally guessed it was Noah's father. Totally knew it. So he was there, and Noah was there, and Daniel and Mara, and there was like all this craziness going on, and then like she dies. I kind of felt something there, because, especially for Daniel, not for Noah. I didn't really care about Noah. Noah and Mara's relationship still, to me, is just so shallow and just, I don't know, I don't buy it. I didn't feel anything for their relationship, but Mara and Daniel, because they're brother and sister, I have a brother, and you know, the fact that Daniel had to watch his sister die, or like knew that his sister had died, it was just like, you know, I was thinking of my brother, so that kind of like affected me more so than any of the other things that the entire series had done. I enjoyed the metafiction twist. The very beginning of the first book, where the narrator or someone is writing this letter talking about how, oh, I changed my name and my lawyer said this and blah blah blah. I actually completely forgot about that letter, like right up until it mentioned this in the book, like at the very end. I was like, oh yeah, there's that letter. I totally forgot about that. So we finally get the explanation of who wrote that letter, which I guess was kind of obvious. It was obviously Mara herself. But the reason for it was, you know, interesting, although the sciencey explanation cleared up nothing. I still do not understand their supernatural powers. I don't get it. I don't understand. The explanation was so confusing. I still don't understand how they each had their powers, and like, was it a gene thing, like in their biology, their DNA, or was it actually supernatural? Like, I don't know. It was not explained well, and it did not leave me satisfied, so that was a real disappointment. Also, I kind of think the ending was a bit of a cop-out, because I seriously think it would have been way better and way more intense if one of them had actually died. Noah or Mara, that is. But no, of course they both lived. I was okay with Mara dying. I thought it was actually I thought that would be a really, really intense, good effect to the whole entire series if the main character died, because that would be such a twist. But when she died, I was like, oh, okay, she's not really dead. She's gonna come back to life or something. And of course, you know, she did. Of course, she came back to life, and I don't really get that either. I don't know how that happened. And then Noah died, or he didn't really die. He was almost gonna die, and then of course, no, he survives too. So it's like, I think the ending could have been way less cliched and more intense and more, you know, exciting if one of them actually had died. But of course, you know, you can't have that. They have to both survive by some miracle, which I find that so boring and cliched, so I kind of wish one of them had died. I know that sounds really, really, like, crazy, and it's not something you say every day, but, like, I just think it would have been a way better ending and effect if, yeah, one of them had actually not survived the ordeal. But yeah, overall, for the entire series, it was an interesting ride. It was exciting in some parts, and some parts were definitely creepy, and I like that, but it did not clear up things well, it did not explain things well, and it was very cliched in some parts and very drawn out. Also, the writing wasn't like that amazing or anything. And I think the ending would have been way better if there had been a death of some kind, and not just this miracle survival stuff. And yeah, but mainly the explanation is what really bothers me. Anyway, whatever, it's over, it's done. I probably won't read it again anytime soon. I'm glad I did though, because now I'm in on the know. I know what everybody's talking about when they talk about Mara Dyer. But that's it for me. I'm not going to read it again probably. So that is my spoilery review of the Mara Dyer trilogy, specifically the last 2 books in the volume. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you did, and please let me know your thoughts below if you feel the same about it, but don't give any spoilers away. Thanks for watching.